think if I was a dog, I would just bark all day long just because why the fuck not?
I think me and the dogs should trade places. Because when you're trying to sleep during the day, especially during the week when nobody's home, and they just bark nonstop, I just want us to trade places just for one day. Because I would just bark all fucking day long.
My neighbor has a dog that barks like they put their dog outside and just fucking dog just barks all day long. I just want to go to their house in the middle of the night and fucking stand outside their house and bark all day.
Just you know. Hey, are you a dog? I'm also a dog.
Look at me. Look at this. You smelling this?
Yeah.
Anyways, how the hell are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah. We're going to freestyle it today.
Sounds good.
We've gotten some pretty good topics lately.
Yeah.
And I feel like, on top of, new things that we may have picked up since we recorded those episodes, and maybe just some other banter. Yeah. We haven't done a freestyle in a long time.
I know. It's been months.
You know what's funny is when we did the New Year's episode and we were talking about going back and listening to the old ones to pick up all the nuggets that we've left behind and didn't record or whatever, you listen to that first freestyle episode and it sounds a lot like the New Year's episode.
Oh really?
It's almost like we're talking about all the same shit.
Huh.
And that's why I asked you about the Burnside notebook.
Yeah, I don't know if T took that notebook or I don't know what happened to it, but it's not there anymore.
I know, that's sad. I was like, that would have been such a fun video series to do.
Yeah. Yeah, sadly there was only, I think there was 2, maybe 3 entries in it as Burnside. Did you ever read them?
No, I only got kind of the synopsis from you.
Oh. Yeah, they were good. It's too bad.
And it was like, by the end of it, Annabelle was like, hey, because she was fucking one of the field hands.
Oh, that was my...
Oh, that was yours?
Yeah. So Burnside, the original Burnside letters were... So just to give a recap, we found this notebook in one of the desks. And, I mean, it's these desks that nobody uses and people just store shit in. So I don't know how long they've been there. But they were letters, addressing... So it was supposed to be this guy named Colonel Burnside in the Civil War. And he was, writing to his beloved Annabelle, writing her love letters. And the whole thing was just hilarious. I don't know who it was, still don't know who it was.
Well, we did surmise it was probably Cruchin.
It was very Cruchin-esque. If it wasn't actually Cruchin, but...
well within character.
They were hilarious though, and so I started writing a few of them that were Annabelle's response to him, and that was So it was the first one was I really love you and miss you, and then the second one was kind of she's noticed this field hand, and the third one was she can't even remember Colonel Burnside's name.
Meanwhile, he's off fighting a war.
Yeah.
Thinking she's at home waiting for him.
And it's I dated it the week, it's only 4 weeks.
That's accurate for these times.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was, I had this kind of weird vision for a short series for it where you kind of get you to sit in a very dimly lit room by candlelight and write with a quill and all this. And then at first with the Annabelle stuff, it would be kind of the same for her. And then it would morph into her being kind of Ratchet.
Yeah. She's out at a nightclub scratching on a napkin or something.
She's laying in bed with the field hand next to her oh shit, I better write this guy. Hey! With 7 E's and 9 Y's. How's it going?
Yeah.
Just those visuals with an overdubbing, so you never actually see anybody talk. You just hear the narration of it. Right. It's oh my god, that would have been so funny.
That would have. I mean, I don't know if anybody hears this and they know where the notebook is. And still go for it.
Maybe I'll see if T has it.
Yeah.
And if I can get a hold of it. If nothing else, just to get pictures of it.
Yeah.
We can write the rest.
It's, highly entertaining. I don't know, maybe the most entertaining part about it was like knowing that somebody wrote it and somebody in that building that had enough time to do it. So it was like somebody in that building that wrote it, so we were just like, Stitch and I would stand there and just like, somebody would walk by from another shift like, Burnside. What's up, Colonel? Just to see what
just like, what?
See what their reaction was. I was even asking Randall, Jason Randall.
He's not smart enough for that.
Were you in the military? What? No. Oh yeah, I swear somebody said you were a colonel. No, I was never in the military. Like, okay, it's not him.
That guy's a fucking character, man.
Yeah.
He is something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, kind of re-listening to that episode and seeing all the parallels of everything we had talked about almost a year later, it was kind of like all the same stuff, and it made me go, oh, there's kind of like a genesis of some of these ideas that we need to make happen.
Yeah.
But now we have so many more important things that we got to do. We got to do Swamp Cops.
Swamp Cops. Oh, I can't even remember all the gems that we've come up with.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to re-listen to a lot of the episodes and catch them, because when you go back and listen to them, there's so many little ones of just like, oh, you know what would be funny? Fucking the Russian Predator 2 with Steven Seagal, you know, or shit like that had just kind of gone by the wayside.
Right.
And I'm like, there's so many good ideas in there.
Yeah, well, we're, I guess later on today, we're stepping out and doing one of these other ideas.
We are, and it's been a long time coming on this one, and it just took me a little bit of focus to figure out how to do it. And granted, it's a beta test, you know, we're going to see how it works, but movie reviews.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about a name for that segment. What the fuck did I just watch? Wednesday movie reviews.
I like that.
Just
WTF.
WTF.
W.
Because we're not going to watch good movies.
No. Why would we do that?
No, because...
I mean, we could, but, like, it's so boring being entertained by a movie.
It's so much more fun when we can entertain each other by watching a shitty movie and just fucking ragging on it the whole time.
Yeah, if you're going to talk through an entire movie, you might as well make it a shitty movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. It kind of makes me recall something where I was in the break room and there's me and Scott and somebody else and we're watching Gladiator. Gladiator is Scott's favorite movie. To me, it's in like my top, I'll say 15, right?
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Third person talks the whole fucking time. And then it gets to the classic moment, like the best moment in the movie, you know, my name is Maximus Decimus Meridius. That whole spiel, and that person keeps talking. We get up to that, and I was like, be quiet for a second, okay? Let me savor this moment. I know I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah.
It's still great. And I don't think he understood that, like, when you have those pivotal moments in great movies, to just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if we're going to find any of those moments in the movie we're going to be watching.
Well...
You might be in awe. But in a different kind of way.
So we had talked about, spoiler alert, on the Seagal episode that we were going to do Sniper Special Ops. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know, I think I'd actually rather do Marked for Death.
Okay.
And I want to save Sniper Special Ops for a later date. Mainly because I watched it with Deacon, so I kind of want Deacon to be on here for it. Mm-hmm. Just so he can spout his nonsense that he comes up with in his wild fucking brain. Okay. That kid scares me.
Yeah.
Just like how sharp he is and his weird sense of humor, that just awesome. It gets me every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, let's save that one for later. Let's do Marked for Death today, because it's kind of, you could poke a lot of fun at it, but it's still kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I really just hope I don't lose my shit when he throws down his super cool gun and just pulls out another one. Because every time I see it, I'm just like, God, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, why would you throw down the gun in the first place? I don't know.
It's a Seagal movie.
Yeah.
Best like, well, and I wanted to go Under Siege, but then I was like, that's his best movie. You know, let's get a couple of the stinkers out of the way. Let's kind of have a progression. I wrote down a couple of the other ones I think we should do, like Madam Web. Have you seen Madam Web?
No.
Holy fuck! Don't watch it until we do a review. It is so ridiculous. The Crow 2024.
I haven't seen that one either. Just because everybody said it was so dumb. Bad.
It's bad.
Yeah. Mostly Yeg has told me on a number of occasions, like...
Yeah, and him and I went to see it together, and it was just like... I think we were the only two people I know of that was like, you know what, let's give the movie a chance. Let's see if there's something new and inventive. There wasn't. Just one stupid, poor choice after another. Sniper Special Ops. Special one for you. No retreat, no surrender.
Old Mudbutt himself.
You know what's hilarious? Is like, I was sitting here working on a video, just doing some editing, and I kind of like have programmed myself to edit it while I'm dicking off on my phone. Because it's like I just had this conversation, so I'm not ready to like totally relive it. So I kind of autopilot the editing, which is why if you see a stupid edit, it's because I got distracted and accidentally pushed a button. But I was like scrolling on my phone through TikTok and whatever, and then it just hit me. Oh my God, no retreat, no surrender. That's got to go on there. So I wrote it on my whiteboard over there. And then not even a minute later on TikTok, I scrolled across a clip from No Retreat, No Surrender.
Really?
And it was like, get out of my brain, phone.
You didn't say it out loud?
No. I was literally in here by myself.
Do we say it on the...
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's all a simulation.
It's getting weird. Speaking of, like, horrible things to watch, I just watched... So, like, last week I watched the Walking Dead series. Can't remember what it's called. The one with Rick and Michonne.
Oh, yeah.
Actually pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. In a very sappy, I don't know, it's like... So, like, the last couple days we've been watching the Dixon series, which also I liked it. But... So, like, we finished the season last night. We watched the last episode. And then, so I was like, that was actually really good. So I was like, I want to go back and watch the original series. So we started it, played the first episode, and I was like, dude, this first episode is actually, like, a really good zombie movie. The first episode. And it has all the, like... the creepy music, and just like it looks like a zombie movie.
Like the first season?
Yeah.
How that was?
Yeah. Especially that first episode where like Rick gets shot and then wakes up in the hospital and kind of is trying to figure out what's going on. And then, but just the difference of where they ended up in those last like spin-offs to like jumping back to the beginning was like, what the fuck? Where did they go?
Yeah, you know, some shows have kind of a through line almost. Like Game of Thrones, the beginning feels like the end to me. It feels like the same show consistently. Versus if you watch a show like that, or even Sons of Anarchy, where the first season and the last season don't feel anywhere near the same.
Yeah.
But because you've been watching a progression. But maybe it's because, like, Game of Thrones is a little bit more period, you know, like old school. So you don't see technology change or fashion change or anything like that. And I think maybe that plays a part. But I kind of like it when shows round back to the beginning in that way.
Yeah.
Where they kind of go like, in the end here, let's revisit our roots. It's almost cyclic.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, it's almost like it's in reverse because, like, in the later seasons and, like, these spin-offs of The Walking Dead, most of it is, so, like, the Daryl Dixon one, somehow he gets to France. Yeah. So he, like, joins up with these people and then gets, like, kind of held captive and they're on a ship. And then he like, gets into a fight and they throw him overboard. And he finds, like, this raft, or like, there's a boat that drops off of, like, a lifeboat, and then he, like, jumps off into the water, ends up in France, and, like, and so, like, he's at this, like, nunnery in France, and, like, it's really almost a medieval type show, just their weapons, and, like one of his main weapons, he's got a knife, and then he's got a mace, is, like, his other...
That's dope.
Yeah.
Does he still do the knife thing like this?
Oh, yeah. I think he learned that from Tommy Lee Jones on stage. But, like, to go from that, and they're, like, shooting bows and arrows, and they have guns, but they're, like, a lot of their guns are muskets for some reason. But, like, going from that, and they're in castles and shit like that because they're fortified places. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where people have held up or hold up in the zombie apocalypse there, I guess. And then going from that back to the beginning of The Walking Dead, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, this is totally different.
Yeah, this was a way different show.
I don't know, man. I used to love The Walking Dead. And it was kind of a ritual for us to sit down and watch it, Sunday night I think it came out on Sunday.
Yeah.
But, we'd sit down and watch it, and a new season would come out, and they'd just come out the gate swinging. Like, the first episode was a real banger. And then the progression was like, woo! And then your mid-season finale was just like a huge uptick moment. And then, woo! And then your finale was kind of like, meh.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing every season. And when I look back on it and I go, season 2 was kind of boring while you're watching it, but it's actually the best written season.
Yeah.
I think I got to 6 or 7. The last thing I remember happening was all of Negan's men had Rick and all his men cornered, and they went to fire, but all their guns backfired. And then he took Negan prisoner instead of killing him. And I went, I'm done.
Yeah.
I would have beat that motherfucker's head in with his own bat.
Yeah.
That just made no sense to me.
Yeah. And it's, it's supposed to be like Rick's inner turmoil of being a human being, which, like, because by this point, I want to say by this point, he's fucking bit somebody's neck off, like, ripped their throat out with his teeth to kill him.
Somebody, I can't remember who.
So he's like, has he lost his humanity, just gone totally feral? Or can he still make rational decisions and have the pity or show mercy or whatever?
I think in that case, granted, it's all hindsight, and I've never been in that position. I think if I was having that kind of inner turmoil, I would have been like, hey, Daryl, why don't you make the call on this?
Yeah. Should we kill this fuck?
And Daryl's like, absolutely, I'll take care of it.
Give it to Maggie.
That probably would have been best.
Yeah.
Let her bash his fucking head in.
Yeah.
That was a dark moment in that show, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah. So yeah, the spin-offs, they're a little bit corny, but they were fun to watch.
Yeah.
And the zombies, like, so in the in the Rick one, they go to, like, so that, like, Rick has been taken by this, like, army that has gotten together, and they do actually have helicopters and shit. And one of their bases is, like, in Washington State, like Seattle, somewhere near Portland. And So they like fly across the country, but like one of their helicopters goes down, and it's supposed to be near like Yellowstone.
Okay.
And so there's all these zombies that have been in the Yellowstone basin, and since they've been in near those like hot pots and shit, their skin is like turned into stone, like calcified.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So like, I don't know.
That would have been a perfect crossover episode. Rick's just like fighting zombies. Kevin Costner comes out of nowhere. Get the hell off my property. Did you watch Yellowstone?
I've watched like the first 3 episodes, but
That was a show that got me totally hooked in.
yeah.
And then they kind of pulled that Game of Thrones thing where they released the first half of season 5, and then it was like 2 years later they put out the second half of season 5, and it didn't even feel like the same show anymore.
Yeah.
So when it finally ended, I kind of felt relieved. It was like, cool, we're finished with that.
So is it done altogether now?
Yeah, they're talking about spin-offs and things like that, but me personally, I'm super disinterested in a lot of spin-offs. You know, even with Sons of Anarchy, now they have the Mayans and stuff, and I haven't watched any of it because I finished that so long ago that it feels too late to come back to it.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, Dumb and Dumber when they come out with a sequel fucking 25 years later or whatever. You're like, I'm going to watch this because it's a movie, but if it was a series, I wouldn't buy in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend 15 hours on it.
Yeah, that sequel too is just like almost the exact same jokes in the exact same sequence. Like,
Yeah.
but I don't know, it was dumber.
It's like when you watch Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, they have basically the same plot, just
Yeah.
with slight beats different, but it's the same movie.
So many of those like sequels do that where they're making the same movie, but it's like you gotta change it up, dude. Like,
Yeah.
change up the plot line, change up, I don't know.
I think some sequels are really good at that.
Like Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah, vastly different movie.
The same thing, like this robot is sent back to destroy, but it's a totally different scenario.
Yeah. Or even First Blood and First Blood Part 2, where it was like Rambo was in the small town and dealing with his PTSD or whatever, and then in the second movie, they put him back into Vietnam, and now it's like, it's not about the PTSD, it's now I get to wage war back.
Yeah.
You know, and totally different themes and a totally different feel, same character. And that shows like a progression. And that's, to me, more important than trying to just cash in on the same thing.
Yeah. Well, also, it kind of like is showing why Rambo was having such a hard time and what he had gone through, and showing his actual, like, why his psyche was the way it was when he was in that small town. Like, so yeah, I mean, you're giving a lot of information by just putting him in a different environment.
Yeah.
One where he actually can be this fucking animal that he become.
Because there's a line in the movie where he asks the colonel, do we get to win this time? And that just changes the paradigm of the whole movie, where in the first one there was no winning situation. He was going to lose no matter what.
Right.
But in the second one it's like, oh, now I get to decide how this goes.
Yeah.
But I think sophomore anything is difficult to always follow up on something that was good the first time. And especially with like music. You know, a band comes out with their debut album and it's just an absolute killer, and then the expectation is so high, but the band will come out with their sophomore album and the flavor is different because they don't want to do the same thing twice, and then people tend to not like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare that, you know, musicians as a whole come out with a second album and it's just as good, if not better, than the first.
Yeah. I kind of wonder how much that is, especially with, I don't know if it's any different now with like more independent artists, like, because I know that the music industry, the way that it works is you sign a record deal for so many records, and you have to put out so much music in a time frame. So it's like, okay, you've got this big record we need another one.
Right away.
So instead of being like inspired by something, it's just like beer. I love beer. I like to drink beer. You know.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh shit, I love to drink beer. I'm gonna write a song about that.
Yeah. Well, I think that works perfectly in the country music world these days.
Yeah.
I think they all have a song about beer and trucks and
Beer, dogs,
all
and
that
trucks.
Beer, dogs, and trucks. I'm not the biggest fan of country music to begin with. Most of it's depressing to me.
Yeah.
But then you'll get like the kind of modern pop star country music, and I go, how is that worse? It's catchy, but it just doesn't sing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think most pop music doesn't really do it for me. Except for fucking Bruno Mars's last album that he came out with. That shit was fucking dope.
I haven't heard any of it.
Oh, well, it was Silk Sonic. Or Open. I'm sure you've heard the song, but
I might have.
Smoking Out the Window.
Oh, I have heard that one. Yeah.
But it was like Bruno Mars is a whole different thing, because I swear every single one of his albums is just like he's progressing through the Motown eras, and so it's like he's done like maybe not even Motown, just like super popular eras in music, where it's like Uptown Funk was like the kind of like 80s pop and hip hop kind of style. This one was like totally 70s Motown R&B style, but like funk.
Yeah. And I fucking love Motown.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of like Bobby Womack to Teddy Pendergrass kind of thing. Like, that's my jam.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it would be, but it's almost a guilty pleasure, even though I hate to say that. Because if you like it, it's not a guilty pleasure. I think that's such a dumb phrase. But, I kind of gravitate towards like hard rock or metal. But, you get in that mood and you just want to hear some Motown. And it's it just touches your soul,
Yeah.
What do you think about Boyz II Men? You know, how popular they were. And they were kind of the tail end of the Motown kind of scene. And their music is awesome.
Yeah. Still to this day.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't hear One Sweet Day and not just like, tense up a little bit.
I can't.
Yeah, it's such a good one.
So we were talking about like disclosure and shit the other day.
Yes.
Did you see the press release about Trump talking about the drones? Well, his press secretary.
I did see about the drones. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
No. It's too simple, and the whole release basically has a fucking bow on it. To say, oh yeah, they were drones and they were, released by the FAA to fly, and then normal people flying their drones. I don't know anybody who lives in like a suburban area who has a drone the size of a fucking Volkswagen.
True.
I don't buy it. Especially with all these people who have come out and said, yeah, we've watched these plasmoids come out of the ocean and then morph into a drone and then go into the city. I just think, yeah, it's too easy for me. What do you think?
I think that she was using generalizations at like quite a bit. And so, I mean, but really it's like, isn't that what the government could have and should have just done in the first place? Like, just say, yeah, most of those drones are just stuff that the FAA has already, said licensed to fly, and, some of them were commercial, some of them were residential. Some of them are commercial, some of them are residential. Some of them we don't know.
If they had led with that, the whole thing would have kind of quelled itself down.
Yeah.
Then it would have become a question of what's the purpose.
Yeah.
But now we're going, at least I'm going, like, I don't believe your explanation, and I still want to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't buy it. That press secretary, though, I was watching a few clips of her. She's got enough balls to fill a fucking dump truck.
Yeah.
She is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, somebody asked her about the deportations, and no matter how you feel about it, there's still certain facts that go with it. And they asked her, like, how many of these people being deported have a criminal record? You know, how many are criminals? And she's like, all of them. They broke the laws of our country. They're all criminals.
Yeah.
And I was so taken aback that she was just like, put that out there so hard. And it was just like hilarious after watching, what's her name, for the last 4 years, you know, try to pander and not give straight answers or blatantly lie. And then you get this young woman, she's the youngest press secretary in history, comes out the gate swinging.
Yeah.
And she's smart, and, you know, she's nice to look at and all that. And I was like, this is great. No matter if you like Trump or his administration or not, it's great to have a press secretary that's not up there to take bullshit.
Yeah.
It's, here's the facts, this is what it is. I don't care what your political beliefs are. Boom.
Yeah. Seems like she's doing her job and giving the facts that she's been given them. It's pretty straightforward. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't totally agree with the way she'll kind of take shots at Biden. I am not a fan of Biden at all, but I feel it's unnecessary. Like, stop trying to juxtapose between the last 4 years and what's coming in the next 4 years. You don't need to do that. If what Trump and his administration are doing that's great, stand on that business. Don't worry about that.
yeah.
You don't need to make a contrast to show how much better this is and how shitty that was. And I agree that the 4 years under Biden sucked.
Yeah.
For Americans.
You don't
as
have
a
to talk
whole.
about it. Just show us.
Yeah. Forget about that. Just like, let's focus on this moment and going forward. That's the only thing I wish I could change about hers. Just stop doing that.
Yeah. I haven't watched the whole thing. I just saw that, or Kara was watching it and she's like, hey, have you seen this? So she sent me that clip of her talking about the drones, and then there was like a few other clips that popped up after that I watched of her. But I was like, hey, send that to your mom.
It's like the hardest thing to talk to people about politics who don't share the same viewpoint, because you don't want to, like, at least I don't anyway, I don't want to be like, you're dumb, you're wrong, do your research, because people kind of have a preconceived notion of what they think is right and wrong, even though, like, on a lot of those people, you know, they're good friends or family, even though I'm diametrically opposed to them, I don't want to treat them that way, and I don't want to, you know, make them think I'm talking down to them. So it's always hard to talk to people who are very left, and I'm just a little right of center.
Yeah.
I think we need to have a better civil discourse about politics.
Yeah. Well, she was mostly, so her mom was talking about the drones, like when we were on Christmas Eve, and she was saying how they were Chinese drones, and
yeah, I remember that.
And she's like, you agree with me, right? You're a conspiracy theorist. And I was like, not really. I mean, I think they're definitely ours. I don't think that they're Chinese. China already has all the information they want about us. They've sold us all of our equipment.
Yeah, that thing you carry in your pocket, it's not that hard to tap into.
So I just was like, send that to your mom so she's freaking about these drones still, thinking they're Chinese spies.
Drones. Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted her to, you know, have some relief.
Some closure.
Some closure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, dude, isn't that exactly what I was saying? It was just fucking probably ours.
Well, even the story of the plasmoids coming out of the ocean and morphing, it's kind of far-fetched. I want to believe it because it is far-fetched, but it still just plays into the factor that I can't buy it. And maybe that's why, because I want to believe it. I try not to have a bias on it, but at the same time, the government's lied about things before.
Yeah. I definitely don't think that it's like an impossible or even improbable scenario for people to see that.
No, not at all.
But I'm not just gonna believe fucking everybody that I see on TV talking about some weird shit.
No. Well, even with some of the other disclosure things that came out, like the JFK stuff and Martin Luther King, I found some other stuff that was kind of tertiary to that I found super interesting. And I haven't delved into it, so I'm hesitant to talk about it, but I'm going to say it anyway, just because it might spark something. But the whole thing with Rosa Parks, allegedly, she wasn't even on the bus.
Really?
Like, she had her own car and shit. It was just like these weird things that I kind of heard in passing that I go, interesting. It's so weird to think that these like historical events or people are not even what we're led to believe they are.
Yeah.
Like
Christopher Columbus.
Roe v. Wade, where she wasn't even trying to get an abortion. She ended up having a kid, and the kid's still alive to this day. And there's so much stuff that you kind of go like, why are we perpetuating, or why have they perpetuated these stories that aren't even true?
Yeah.
Like, what was the purpose? And the only thing I can come up with is that they wanted to create division. They wanted to have civil unrest between citizens.
Yeah. Assassinations, especially on political figures, or like figures like Martin Luther King that have a lot of like social weight. I mean, there's always going to be a lot of different motives to
Sure.
try to quelch that. I think the easiest way is just to kind of see what happened after, but it takes time to see what. I guess maybe it's you can't really tell, because what could have been if they hadn't done it, like if people hadn't done these things, and then also what did change after these things did take place.
Well, I think that one in particular has a little bit different weight to it, because he was shot, but he didn't die by the gunshot. He was actually smothered in a hospital bed with a pillow. Weird. But you think about what his death did to kind of galvanize people against segregation or against racism. And after his death, you started to see Jim Crow laws disappear and things like that. So his death made a big impact on society. It really did.
So was he a martyr, or would those things have happened without him dying?
I have to say he's a martyr because of the things that are coming out about him.
Yeah.
So with talking about being in gay orgies, in the 50s and 60s and things like that, or potentially being a rapist, or, all these things that you're starting to hear about now, it makes more sense to kill him off when he's still this huge, great standing public figure, where he becomes a martyr, versus let the truth come out and now suddenly you put black rights back.
Yeah.
Because the figurehead of that whole movement was a terrible person.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
I haven't seen any of that.
I haven't read it myself. I'm only kind of speculating on things that I've heard.
This is what TikTok said. So.
Well, I had heard some of those things a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, it's kind of like, if Michael Jackson's being accused of molesting kids for 20 years, at some point you got to go, he probably is.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of fucking parent drops their kid off to go hang out with Michael Jackson for the weekend, though?
Did you ever watch Leaving Neverland?
No.
It's hard to watch, because it's about they're men now, but as they were boys, where they were kind of Michael's favorites in a way.
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about their experiences with him, and some of them have their parents come on the documentary and actually talk about their experience while they were in the Michael Jackson circle. And one lady was like, you know, my son's hanging out with Michael Jackson, and suddenly I'm getting to meet all these celebrities and going to nice dinners and these balls and whatever, kind of being schmoozed the whole way. Meanwhile, your kid is in a pseudo relationship with Michael Jackson. You know, there's a part of me that understands how it happened, but I'll never get the why. I'll never get the whole like, oh yeah, you can hang out with a grown man. I'm gonna go talk to Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, that's my whole. I don't know. That was my whole thing about that whole Michael Jackson situation. Was just like, I would never let my kids do that. Like,
no.
I even have like hard time, like, my kids want to go have a sleepover at their friend's house. Like, oh, well, let me meet their parents.
Yeah.
I want to see what's going on. But I don't know, my kids, and even their, like, my kids' friends, like, some of their parents want to meet us before their kids come and hang out at our house. That's fine. Like,
yeah.
Most of the time when there's a house full of kids, though, I just go up into my room because I don't want to hear their fucking bullshit.
I don't know why kids are so loud.
I know. I used to think that my grandpa was just the fucking ornery old bastard. Like, hush down! Keep it down!
No,
Oh, yeah, kids are fucking loud as shit.
I get it.
Yeah.
They can be loud for literally no reason. Like, I watch my daughter, she'll be playing on her tablet. She's playing like a coloring game. Ah! Like, what are you doing?
Are you okay? What? Yeah. I do that weird shit, though. I used to do that weird shit all the time, actually. Or just, like, be super annoying. Like, just saying the same thing over and over. I think it's, like, ADHD or something. Like, what is it called? Like, stimming?
Yeah.
Where you just, like...
It's a self-stimulation.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, I don't know, man. Kids are just weird.
They're weird. You know, it's something that I always, like, wanted to not take away from my kids, though.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I choose to, like, go separate myself so that if I want quiet, I'll go somewhere that's quiet. Instead of, like, telling them they have to be quiet because I don't want noise. And so it's like, okay, you be you. If you want to be loud and shit, just be loud. I'll be quiet over here. You be loud over here.
Yeah.
If you guys need anything, just come let me know. I'm over here. But at the same time, it's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
I know.
Try to watch Daryl fucking Dixon kick some zombie ass.
And he doesn't talk very loud, so
Yeah.
I got to turn the volume way up. Yeah, I don't know. It's different when kids are loud, especially at different ages, because, you know, I'll hear my daughter, she's playing on her tablet, and let out like this blood-curdling scream. Because she's a girl, so it's higher pitched and everything. And my ears are just super sensitive to high-pitched sounds. And so I go in there like, what are you screaming about? Oh, my character died in Minecraft or whatever. Like, that's not a good excuse. But then I'll play video games with one of the boys, and they're like, ah, for no reason. And I laugh at that. But I also think it's one of them being dramatic just to be dramatic, and the other one's being dramatic to be funny. Maybe intention plays into it. Maybe because they don't have the pitch. Either way, maybe when she's older I'll find it funny, but right now I'm just like, don't fucking do that.
If you're gonna scream like that, scream like a man.
Yeah. Grab your balls. Oh, fuck!
Give your balls a tug.
Give your balls a tug, bud. I don't know. Kids are different these days.
They are.
And we all, you know, a lot of older people complain about, you know, screen time with tablets and phones and things like that. And they go, when I was a kid, I didn't have that. Well, when I was a kid, I didn't have that either. But if I did, I probably would have done it.
Yeah. Also, when we were kids, we could go outside and play without the fear of getting molested around every corner.
Right? You didn't have to worry about being abducted.
Yeah. And trafficked through the tunnels under the LA fires.
That kind of makes me wonder, was that a prevalent thing back then? Or is it just the dissemination of information that makes it more prevalent now?
I think it definitely started back then, but they had a pretty good system in place, so to deter people from kidnapping kids, because if there was a kid that went missing, boom, right on the milk carton. You can't do that anymore. You can't do it with plastics.
You can't. I mean, I'm sure that hurts Travis really bad. So he started shortly after us, and we had kind of worked together for a little bit, and I remember turning to him one day, and we had never even spoke, and I was just feeling ornery, and I was like, you know what? You look like a dude who jerks off to the pictures of missing kids on the back of a milk carton. He's like, that's fair.
At least he owns it, I guess.
I don't think he is, but he definitely looks like it.
He definitely cried on the way home in his big all white black cargo van.
As Deacon calls it, the Kidnapper 9000.
Yeah. All he needs is just a rail thin mustache.
Yeah, he throws off the whole aesthetic because he drives a Subaru.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, you hurt kids, but you're also a lesbian?
Hurts kids, but he takes them on a nice hike before.
You got your walking stick, kids? I got the lube. Yeah, it's evil.
EVIL, evil.
Evil. Interesting guy.
Yeah. Too bad there's nobody else here to talk about him. He is an interesting guy. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, so what's another shitty movie we should review?
Oh, there's a whole fucking host of them on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
we've talked about a few of them. What's a classic one, though?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space, maybe.
Good one. Solid.
Solidly stupid movie. We could even do The Last Dragon.
I think we should throw that on the list.
Because it is a classic movie that I've watched 1,000 times, but I could also make fun of it all day long.
I think we need somebody to be in on that one who hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
That would make the Donnie difference in how funny that is.
Yeah. Stitch hasn't seen a lot of movies.
Yeah, but you'd also have to get him to leave his house.
True, and he's super racist. So
now we should get him to do it. How much is this going to cost me?
Stitch isn't really racist. I only say that for my own protection.
Because you're half brown?
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Because we're not in the same building all the time anymore, so it's he can come from anywhere.
No, it's true. It's true. I think Pat should come do one.
I keep telling him, but he's...
Where does Pat live?
He lives in, West Jordan.
That's not even far.
Just off of Redwood and 102nd South or something like that.
Yeah, it's not far.
Yeah. Thing is, he just fucking works all the time. So, yeah.
We'll bribe him.
Yeah.
Be like, we'll give you a booster in one of the chairs so you can be eye level with us.
We'll give you a booster and some regular Cheetos so they're not the spicy ones that are going to burn you. Burn your eyes when you get tired.
I don't know why it is. Every time I jerk off, my dick is on fire. Have you tried washing your hands?
Pat was saying something So Pat's wife has the same car as Stitch. And he drove his wife's car one day to work. Pat did, for some reason. And so, like, I come pulling up, and Stitch is standing there by this car that I think is his car. Exact same car, exact same color, looks exactly the same. And so Stitch is standing there, and I pull up, and then Pat gets up from getting something out of the passenger side. It looked like, to me, it looked like he was getting out of the passenger door. And I was like, pulled it up, and I was like, did you go pick him up? And he's like, no. Like, oh, is he just getting something out of your car? He's like, no, my car's over there. I was like, oh, what the fuck? And he's like, what, do you think we rode together? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I was just unbuckling him out of his car seat. Had to put his socks back on because he pulled them off.
Well, I mean, the math checks out because Pat's wife and Stitch probably have the same size clitoris.
Maybe. Come on.
Flick of the bean. Oh, I've got a movie we should review, but I don't know if I can bring myself to watch it another time. Have you ever seen Jeepers Creepers 4?
No. Maybe.
Have you seen the first two, or first three, I should say?
I don't know. I've seen the first two for sure. I don't know if I've seen the third one.
So, people defend the third one, and it's a piece of shit. It's just pure hot garbage. So the fourth one is actually a reboot. So the events of Jeepers Creepers 1 through 3 are kind of like the folklore version that they use in Jeepers Creepers 4 to show that this is a reboot. I'm pretty sure, like, the catering budget is equal to the budget of the film for that movie because it was probably made for, $8 or something. Yeah. Not a lot. The acting is fucking atrocious. Most of it's filmed on green screen, except for like takes place in the main house. But I come back to it that, like, the creeper kills somebody, and then he goes back to the record player in the house and starts the song over. So they play the song like 5 times during the movie. It's like, has this idiot not heard of Spotify? Yeah. The whole movie is so
He's been asleep for 26 years, 27 years, whatever it is.
But they don't even play the original song. They play like a remake version of it, which is kind of insulting to like the original movies.
Yeah, where did you get the remix?
On vinyl, too. Yeah. The whole movie is so bad, and I want to do it, but it has to be on a day where I don't have to drive because I'm going to have to drink heavy to be able to sit through that one again.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen even the third one. I know that the second one's the one with the kids on the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen that one, but I don't think I've seen any of the other ones.
Yeah, the third one's stupid.
I just watched the new Scream movie, Scream 6. Also a pretty dumb movie.
The last one I saw of that was in New York.
With Jenna Ortega?
Yeah, so there's 2 of them that have Jenna Ortega.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like the first one was in the original town, and then the second one was in New York. Is that the same movie?
So the second one is in New York, yeah.
Is that 6 or is that
6?
Okay.
5, I can't remember if they actually go to New York or not. Because they talk about it, and that's where they're like, they've lived and then they come back because they're going to school or something in New York, the girls.
Yeah.
Or the older sister is, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is in New York, yeah, that's 6.
Yeah, and at the end it was like the detective and his 2 kids were the bad guys. Spoiler! Don't watch it. But they have like the museum of all the Scream artifacts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie was fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I think franchises always run too long because they think I can milk another buck out of it. Even if I only make a buck, it's worth it. Like, it's not. If you water down the legacy of a great franchise, all you did was hurt it.
Yeah.
It's like the Alien movies, where they keep coming out with new ones and new ones and new ones, and like the quality is just kind of teetering back and forth. Like, why don't you give that franchise a rest for a decade and then come back to it with something fresh?
Yeah. Like, here, throw a twist into it, and like, in the Scream franchise, throw a huge twist and say, hey, I've been chased by this guy with a knife this many times. I'm going to learn how to shoot and carry a gun. Fucking major twist, dude. Didn't see that one coming.
They tried that in Scream 3 when Nev Campbell had a gun. But I always go back to, why do they have like 6 shooters? For one thing, get a magazine-fed gun with multiple magazines. And I specifically remember from that movie where she like went to this mansion in Beverly Hills or whatever, and the Scream guy was like, use the metal detector wand. And she like wanded herself, and there was a gun in her boot, so she took that out and threw it in the pool. But she had another gun on the other side, and she used that. But it's still just a chintzy little gun. Like, go in there with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Go in there with a fucking M4 and just start blasting. And shoot him in the face.
Shoot him in the face. Plot twist.
Yeah.
The movie's only 10 minutes long.
Like, that body armor doesn't do you any good if I have a 50 caliber Action Express.
Yeah. And they talk about that in this other one, in the 6th one, where fucking what's her name? What is her name?
Sydney?
No, the reporter, Gail
Weathers.
Yeah, she like has a gun and has practiced with it, and still just fucking shoots at everything else except for the guy. For some reason.
They even tried that with the Halloween movie where Laurie Strode was like older and estranged from her daughter, and you see like a montage of her shooting guns, but it's like, why are you using a lever action and a revolver? Like, be a little more pragmatic.
Just in case I get into an old Western shootout with the fucking Michael Myers.
With Mike Myers. Like, I'm pretty sure some double-aught buck is going to drop him pretty quick.
Yeah, it might slow him down a little bit, or even try walking. If he's just catching up to you while you run, maybe it's the opposite, dude.
I like those memes where it's like when the camera's not on Michael Myers and he's like
Sprinting.
What would be even better is if it was a Seagal run.
With his knife.
Horror movies have gotten silly. Oh, speaking of Alien, have you watched Alien Romulus?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was a cool movie until the end, where he turned into, like, the baby turned into the alien that was like the tall man, the Slenderman.
I was into the movie, even though it was like 90% nostalgia bait, but it didn't feel as forced as it should have. It felt like, okay, we're paying homage to the movies that came before, and we're trying to make a similar movie. But yeah, when he came out, he was just the big, tall, lanky thing, and I'm just like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
This movie just took a downward turn.
That is so gay, dude.
It's super gay. Well,
that's G-E-Y gay, dude.
That's the fucking dude from The Hangover in the classroom. Gay!
No, yeah, I thought the movie was cool. My kids really thought it was scary, but like, yeah, as soon as he like popped up out of because I knew, I was like, oh, she was pregnant, the baby's gonna be an alien. And like the baby comes out and like starts morphing into this fucking thing. I was like, oh, that's fucking dumb.
Super dumb.
It's like you're just taking like images from other scary movies and making them into your new alien being. Pretty dumb.
So speaking of scary, because winter's kind of we're on the backside of it now, and I've been getting back into like that kind of ghost hunting mentality and kind of gearing up for that because I really feel like we're going to have a really killer year with that this year. It kind of got me back into watching some of the videos and stuff, you know, with like gear and methodology and stuff like that. But I've come across a few videos of controversy with Zach Bagans, and it got me back into watching Ghost Adventures. And I find myself watching it as like a drinking game, but I'm not drinking. Where every time Zach Bagans specifically does something cringy, you could take a shot, but you would be dead in like the first 20 minutes of the episode.
Yeah. But, oh, he's wearing fingerless gloves. Shot.
Oh, he's got his fucking respirator on. Shot. He's gonna tell Nick to go stay back in the nerve center, which is such a cringy name.
The nerve center?
Yeah.
We have to come up with a name for our nerve center.
Yeah, I'm going to ponder on that. But I also found this video game on Steam called Phasmophobia. Well, I didn't find it. I was told about it. But I downloaded it, and in the game you play as ghost hunters. So you can play up to a team of 4. And when you start in the truck or in the nerve center, and there's different devices on the wall that you can pick. So you can take like an EMF detector, a UV light, a video camera that's night vision capable, and a few other things, and try out these different ghost hunting methods to try to eliminate what type of ghost it is before the ghost kills you. The game is kind of silly, and like the graphics aren't great, but I'm fucking addicted to it. Just because it's more detective work than anything, where you have like a list of different types of ghosts there are and how you can spot telltale signs of each one. And then when you're starting to be attacked, you can leave whatever place you're in, go back to the truck, and guess what kind of ghost it is. And if you guess it right, you know, you get like extra money and shit like that. But if you guess it wrong, like they could dock you money.
Interesting. It sounds like a fun concept.
Well, it's also really cool too because when you play it, you put your headset on with your mic enabled, so the ghosts hear you. So if you're talking or whatever, they'll come and find you, and you can't see them.
Yeah.
So like the whole time you're playing, you have to be like, I have a little EMF going right now. It's actually a lot of fun.
Huh. I wonder if that's how long's that game been out, you know?
I have no idea. But I know that it is VR compatible. So I need to get a cable for my Oculus, and I'm just going to sit here and play it in here on the VR headset. Because it's kind of difficult to navigate with the controller, and I've never been a keyboard person. I can't grasp it. But if I could do it on the Oculus where I'm like actually moving, it'd be even more fun.
Yeah. Well, it kind of brings to mind that guy that I was telling you about, that D-Tune or whatever his name is, that does the Twitch streaming and ghost hunting. Because he has his chat open, and like, so he's got static cams set up in all these different areas, and then like, so he's like doing the ghost hunt at the same time while these static cams are everywhere else. And so you're like, okay, well, what kind of a test should we run? And then like people in the chat will like do an EVP.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
So he'll pull it out and start doing an EVP session, or they'll say, hey, something just happened in this other room. And so he'll go over to the other room and check it out. So everything's live streaming all at the same time.
That's an interesting method. I like that.
But yeah, he's like, a lot of the stuff that he does on the show is just like what the chat wants him to do. So he's just like an avatar almost for...
He's like the Sims version of a ghost hunter?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah. Of course, I haven't watched the show. He was doing an interview with the Podwatcher guys.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. Because I think like the whole ghost hunting spectrum has become extremely watered down.
Yeah.
Because for one, methodology hasn't changed. 2, people are still lying and making bullshit up. And 3, they just kind of follow the Ghost Adventures formula. And that's where I think, like, as stagnant as that whole platform has become, people could just come in with just one new idea It just changed the whole paradigm.
Yeah. Well, it's cool also because you have, I guess he's got a huge following on Twitch, and they follow him and watch his videos, and like he's like, dude, 90% of the time I don't know something's going on, and they'll tell me what's happening, either in another room or something that just happened like down the hall where I wasn't looking, and don't see it live, but they tell me like instantly that they saw something.
That's
so I can go back and like, okay, you just saw something over here, let's go over here and do an investigation. What should we do? Like a EVP or spirit box or whatever. So it's almost like the people who are in the chat are also doing the investigation with him. So it's like you can be a ghost hunter, part of the ghost hunting team from sitting at your house on your computer.
Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
That's smart. And I myself, and we've talked about it a little bit. I think going forward, what I would like to do to kind of not only differentiate but also make it more interesting is try out different methods. And I've come up with a few of my own, and I'm kind of building up the equipment and the repertoire to go with it. But I think just walking around with just an EMF detector going, is there any ghosts here? It's gotten flat. So it's like, let's come up with new methods. Let's try different things. Let's look at it from a scientific aspect of, why would this work?
Yeah.
Or why would it not work, kind of thing. And that even plays into some of the, equipment testing videos and things like that we've talked about doing, where we can take an EMF detector around, explain how it works and what it's actually measuring, and then show faults. Like, you could hold it up to this light and it's going to have a small measure, versus you could go over to that laptop and hold it up to that and you're going to get a big measure, kind of thing. Yeah. You just kind of dispel a lot of the bullshit would be really handy.
Yeah. Maybe like we could get somebody that's more autistic than Scott to like come with us and tell us where shit is happening.
Well, I have been talking to a couple other people, and I got Yeg on board with it, because I was like, dude, if you come over and you start doing this thing with you, I'm going to pay Kara to make you a hoodie.
Okay, I'll do it for the hoodie.
Well, I think Yeg would be interesting because he's a hardcore skeptic.
Yeah.
It's not like you or I, where we could be presented with the correct evidence. He's just 100% not real, total bullshit. Yeah. So I want to see his reaction if we're doing one of these and then something happens. Like, what is he going to do? How is it going to change his perception?
Yeah. How can even just like how can you justify something that's unjustifiable? Like, in most of the scenarios that we have, the small things that we've had happen to us, there's 100 different things that it could be, but it's
absolutely
like total speculation on our part. Like, did we just witness something that was paranormal? Yes, we did.
For sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, especially in the moment where it's like you don't really have time to think about, dude, that was total bullshit. That was just like, dude, that just happened. Something just happened. Instantly jumping to that paranormal side, where if you have somebody that's a total skeptic, it's like, no, think about this. I just stepped on this. Did you fart? Was somebody's stomach rumbling or something like that?
Well, I'm even curious of just, the unexplainable moments that happen. Like, how would a hardcore skeptic look at it? Would they just go, oh, that could have been anything? Or would they kind of point to, let's find a reason? Mm-hmm. Or would they go, yeah, that was weird and I can't explain it? Which to me would be the most valid response, because not everything that's happened is explainable from our perspective. Some of it could just easily be coincidence or audio pareidolia or whatever you want to say, but that's why we keep doing it, because we're trying to have more experiences and investigate those further.
Yeah. And I've had a few people like ask me about it at work, like, oh, you guys are going ghost hunting, dude, I want to go. Like, I'd love to go do that. Like, yeah, we're going to do it this day. Oh, I can't do it. Okay, well,
Yeah,
You set up a time and then set up a time and place and we'll be there.
yeah. And then they still won't show.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when people tell you they love your podcast, but they've never listened to it.
What I meant to say was I love those funny clips from it.
Yeah. Which, you know what? I guess attention is attention.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But there's a little part of me that goes, you know that one little clip that you see? I take like 4 or 5 of those out of each video of just a funny moment. But there's so much to that. Like you're seeing this much of the iceberg, but it's this big under the water,
Yeah.
you know? And, you know, not every episode has like all the greatest information or a metric ton of laughs. Like some are a little bit higher quality than others. It's just the nature of things. Just listen to one.
Yeah. Or 2.
Or 2. Or, 45
Yeah.
at this point. Well, it'd be 45 on Monday.
Or if you have a more interesting topic that you want us to talk about and you want us to listen to us talk about, let us know.
For sure. Like, I'm down to have other people on. But I kind of feel like if a person wants to come on, at least have a grasp on kind of how the flow goes.
Yeah.
You know, how we talk about
Don't
these
get
things.
fucking mad when we start talking shit.
Yeah, don't just get butthurt when we call you a racist. If you're a racist, you're a racist. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I find more often than not that people who approach me about coming on to do one, they want to talk about themselves. But the people that I approach to do it, they have interesting things to say, and that's why I ask them, or they have a great personality, but they're trepidatious.
Yeah.
Or the classic, well, that day doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, I guess it'll happen if it's meant to happen.
Yeah. Either way, I enjoy doing them.
I think the bread and butter episodes are just you and I. Those are the most fun to me.
And we do our research on TikTok and YouTube and whatever Google and Wikipedia has to say about shit.
Speaking of research on TikTok and going back to the press secretary, I found this super interesting where the front row of the room that they have the press conference in is labeled new media. So if you're an influencer, if you're on YouTube, whatever your platform is, if you're reporting news, you can get a front row seat in that room. And legacy media has to sit in the back now.
Well, I think that you get more truthful media most of the time from podcasts and independent reporting
100%.
than you do on mainstream media. And I think that there's being a big shift right now when the people are starting to realize that the shit that they're talking about on these major platforms are just propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a solid stance on the aisle, doesn't matter if you're red or blue, you're going to stand beside whatever news media outlet you feed off of. So if you're conservative, you're going to watch Fox News and you're going to hate CNN. If you're, Democrat or progressive, you're going to watch CNN and hate Fox News. So you have this big divisionary tactic, but now those fuckers have to sit in the back.
Yeah.
And, like Joe Rogan can sit in the front because I know there are people who hate him and don't like his podcast and whatever, but he's a lot more objective about things.
Yeah.
So he gets a front row seat. And I think changing that paradigm to say what's worked for the last, 60, 70 years or whatever doesn't work anymore. We need to embrace what's coming, what is new, what is now, and how it actually works in the real world with real people.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so fucking cool, just to be like, hey, you assholes go over there. All you new people who want to come in and report objective news straight from the horse's mouth, you get a front row seat.
Yeah.
And I think I sent you a TikTok about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we should apply so we can go and then confront them about why they stole the election from us.
We want to know why the election was stolen. Trump didn't steal the election from Kamala. No. From us.
From us.
I don't know if you know
Fake
this,
news.
but our names are on the ballot.
I have proof.
They may have been written in, but they were on the ballot.
I still need to look that up to see if we like placed somewhere.
Yeah, that would be so tight.
Just to see our names on the list, even if it was at the very fucking bottom.
Yeah, we need to grow this channel just so we can get our names officially on the ballot.
For sure.
Just so that we can say that we did it.
Yeah, we'll allow Donald Trump to have his moment. We'll come back at it later.
You got a couple of years. We're coming in hot. 2029? Yes.
Yeah. Perfect time.
Yeah. We'll both be 29.
Still.
How old do you have to be the president? 35?
35.
We'll both be 35 and a half.
Yeah, because I haven't passed 35 yet. It's just, it hasn't happened. It won't be until the time I need to be 35.
2029, so you're 30, you're 31 right now?
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks. Happy Summerween in January.
Summerween.
Summerween. I'm legit excited for that.
Me too. I need to go to the Bins place and get some Halloween decorations.
That bin store is awesome.
Yeah.
You find some fucking treasures in there.
Yeah.
And I always want to go on a Saturday just because it's like everything is fresh stock and everything. But then I'm like, God, that sounds terrible. Like being around people and...
I went there. It was a Saturday before Christmas. It actually wasn't too bad. I thought it was going to be crazy in there, but there was one lady, like, walking around singing Feliz Navidad because it was, like, playing in the background.
Mm.
And so she was just, like, singing it super loud. So that was kind of obnoxious, but at the same time, it's a fucking bin store, dude. Of course there's going to be somebody singing Feliz Navidad.
This isn't Target. What the fuck you think?
She wasn't a Hispanic lady at all. Like,
Was she white?
Yeah.
Okay. She's just crazy then.
Yeah. Just a crazy lady.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's a Ben's place, so
Yeah.
you do what the fuck you want at the Ben's place.
Dude, you could smoke crack in there. People are okay with it.
Probably.
You're just like,
probably buy crack in there too.
Oh my God, look at that.
Fucking hinges? Door hinges? I don't have a door, but if I find one, I'm gonna have hinges.
Look, a class of 2021 banner? I have to have this.
Cupcake toppers for graduation.
St. Patty's Day fucking gift wrap?
Thanksgiving placemats. It's January, but Thanksgiving's coming.
It's coming. It happens every year.
Yeah.
Gotta be prepared.
But Summerween, dude, I mean, they probably won't have as many Halloween decorations there as they did before, but
No, but
never know.
we'll find something useful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Could find a Steven Seagal fucking glasses.
technically, it's also like a dual birthday party. So, you know, me and Kara, and then we're doing Halloween. We're just fucking putting it all together.
Yeah, and we can have fireworks.
Yeah, you know what we could do if we're going to the bin store? We'll find one of those like prom backdrops that you take pictures with. We'll just hang it up, and everybody who comes in their costume can
Pose.
take a picture.
Do a big group photo.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
we'll just mix it all up. It's summer with Halloween. It doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah. I still don't know what I'm going to be for Halloween, though. For like, Summerween.
Me neither, because I'll have all the kids, so I got to plan around that. And I'm kind of thinking, because there's been a few Robins to Batman, like I'll be Batman, I'll make the boys be Robins. And then
All the different Robins.
yeah, and then Elsie could be one of the two female Robins.
Yeah.
And then I'll just establish dominance every time they try to backtalk. This is my Batcave. It's literally just the meme of Batman backhanding Robin.
Which Batman are you to dress up as, though?
I don't know. Depends on costumes and what shape I'm in. I don't think I could pull off the Adam West with my beard belly. Or could I?
Yeah, I was thinking about being Hulk Hogan for
Dude.
Just wearing the fucking red underwears with the Hulkster shirt.
Why don't we do this? You be Hulk Hogan, and I'll be Macho Man Randy Savage, and we'll just like act out the whole feud.
Hey, brother!
Every time we run into each other, I don't like you.
You ever see that clip of them like they're fucking geeked out on coke or something?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. That shit is hilarious.
Well, those two had like a weird relationship. They were like BFFs, and then they hated each other. And then towards the end, they were trying to reconcile, but then Randy Savage died. And now, anytime anybody asks Hulk about Randy Savage, he like tries to say loving and positive things. But you talk about, you know, when you hear about, I should say, some of the stories that happen between us, you kind of go, I don't know, I think Hulk's kind of the asshole in this one.
Yeah.
Which he's kind of notorious for being a backstabber. And yeah, there was a show I was watching, and I fucking can't remember the name of it. But it's all these wrestlers talking about the behind-the-scenes wrestling stuff, and I hate wrestling. I think it's so gay. But I watched that show, and it's way more enthralling than what's happening with the wrestling.
Yeah.
Or even the Vince McMahon thing that was on, I think it was on Netflix, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah.
I was just like watching it like this the whole time, because I'm just so entertained by everything behind the scenes that builds up to what they show you, and what they show you isn't even half as entertaining.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Growing up in the 80s, like when the Hulkster was the fucking man, he used to have to like, well, I swear, like G.I. Joe would have wrestlers on it. Like every show would all of a sudden they'd have like guest stars that were like Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage or, you know, Jim Dugan or whatever his name was, the 2x4 guy. Just random shit. And they had those like little thumb wrestler guys put on your thumb. And then it was like went away for like a decade. And then like late 90s fucking came back.
Huge resurgence.
Yeah. So like in high school, like we were all doing the fucking people's elbow and shit, like walking around. And then the wrestling games came out on like Nintendo 64, the NWO wrestling or whatever it was. So yeah, I was like off and on paying attention to wrestling, but I always thought it was super fake. But
it's not fake in terms of them getting hurt and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That's totally real. It's just choreographed.
yeah,
But yeah, there were personalities within that realm that I liked. Like I thought Stone Cold was fucking dope.
yeah,
And I hated The Rock just because that's the way it was like meant to be.
right.
But every time I would sit down and watch it, because you know I had a friend at that time, he enjoyed watching it, and I'd watch it with him, and I'm going, this is dumb.
Can you go get some bitches?
Can you turn this to MTV? This is like the last year they're playing actual music, so let's soak it up. But yeah, I couldn't even watch it now. I've seen clips of it, and I go, God, they're still doing the same shit.
Yeah. Well, I gotta take a piss, dude.
Well, let's pull it right there, because
All right.
we got a movie to watch.
We got movies to watch, shit to talk, and I gotta take a piss.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.